Today I'm going to show you how to tint grunge paste. It's quite a different thing that you can do with this compared to most other similar texture products, and all you want to do is put a little bit of this on your craft sheet. So I'm going to have a go at tinting with two different colours. I've actually probably got way too much grunge paste, so let me just take some away. And it's surprising, but you really don't need very much paint to tint it. So one little spot will do. I'm going to tint some blue and some brown. You don't want to use too much paint because you will compromise the texture of the product. If you put like 50% paint in there, you're going to end up with a really sloppy product, which you don't really want to have. This is going to end up looking exactly the same as a craft sheet probably. Okay, so what I've done here is I've just painted a background onto the tag, so it's got sort of some brown shades, but predominantly it's white on top. So I'm kind of going to attempt to do a shabby chic layer on top, and I'm just going to put the grunge paste straight through the stencil, but I want some to sort of mix up the colours so that it's not the same everywhere. So a little bit of the blue and a little bit of the brown. And again, if you, like we've done previous techniques, if you want to leave it on really thick so you get a thicker texture, then you can do that and then just lift off the stencil. If you want it a bit thinner, then scrape it back down. Right, that will do. Lift it off. And then you've got your nice sort of swirling texture. Oh, I've got a bit of a splat there where I moved the stencil, but that's okay. What I tend to do, if something like that happens, if I get I've got one floating about here somewhere. If I get something like this, like a, what do you call this thing? Craft knife. And I can just tidy that up a little bit so that it looks a bit more like it's supposed to. Doesn't often happen actually. Usually I don't have too much bleeding under the stencil, but I just like to check that my stencil's dry before I start, and that tends to help. If the stencil's a little bit damp underneath, oops, I've just pulled the knife out of that. That's good, isn't it? There we go. Let's fix that problem. And similarly, while I've got this kind of thing, if there are other little patches or splots that I don't really want to have on the design, then I can easily remove them. So if I decided I didn't want that bit there or that bit there, you just use your craft knife to remove sections. Okay, now you can dry your grunge paste with a heat gun if you wish. It doesn't seem to compromise it too much. It doesn't change or warp or puff up or anything like that. I do sometimes mix my grunge paste in with the puff paint, which you've probably seen me do in another video, and that does give it a much more rounded effect in a sort of controlled manner. One of the advantages of this technique is that if you colour your grunge paste, you can then come over the top of it with a completely different set of colours of paint and then sand back to the blue, which is quite nice. This one is similar to what I've just shown you, except I've only used the one colour. It means that you've then got a nice contrasting colour to your background and you don't need to put any more paints on top. So if you've created a really nice background tag and you're happy with it, but you want some sort of texture on there, then by putting a coloured paste on top, you don't have to come back and add more colour to it afterwards. So I'm going to dry that off, and then I'd probably put a little bit of treasure gold over the top.